So going back there, I think I kind of just had this set mindset of like, oh, this is going to be, you know. But when I went up there, she was like the only person who was willing to learn what I've become.
So what got you into writing?
I guess I've been doing it always, you know, and a lot of people when they get into their art forms, it's something like picking up painting or trying, you know, like going out and doing something. But for me, it was always just something I've done always. And growing up, like I really can't. Oh, can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You say whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean, like I could not write for dude. I was so dyslexic that everything I wrote made no sense. But I just constantly wanted to be creating stories and stuff, or like daydreaming about anything really, other than what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
And I think with my art, it's kind of, it is what makes someone them. I don't know why I'm art based on this right now, but I guess that's all I do.
Yeah. Art is one way to express yourself, your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts. So what did you start writing?
I think I started writing things that upset me, kind of.
Yeah.
Processing different experiences in the eyes of like a different perspective. And my writing teacher was really big on finding a frame, and if you don't like the image you see, just shift it. So I think to get through a lot of experiences I went through, I would just have to shift my frame to kind of accept and look at it from a different perspective. So when I started doing that, it was more of like, okay, it doesn't sound too bad. Let's just keep going, right? But it's also a very personal thing too, because it's like the same thing sitting down and speaking. Like when you ask, what is like, what makes you you, right? And it's kind of just like weird, you know, sharing that. But that's the difference of like painting or selling your art and things like that. It's, you're out here, like what my cousin is, you know, you put that out there, but then it's like a personal thing too.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I got sidetracked. What were we saying?
Well, the initial question was, what did you start writing?
What did I start writing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think, I think relationships with people, big time, and things that I regretted how it was going, I would write about that to kind of mend it in a sense.
Yeah, that sounds very helpful.
Yeah, but with that, it kind of creates this false reality that's easy to slip into.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, when you create your world, it's kind of, you have to be careful on that. Yeah, I mainly started with poetry and stuff. My father is a big writer too, not like famous writer, but all he does is write. So I think he was very, just taught me from a young age, you need to write everything, right? And it's like meaningless stuff that kind of forms into something. But going into it, when I was younger, I really didn't believe I could like do things, like, or write things for, you know, different reasons, for like, either I can't spell anything or whatever.
Yeah.
But just trying to capture little seconds of it, like a blink. I also have really bad memory too. Like I really can't remember much. So what I have written down is new to me in like 24 hours. Yeah. So it's kind of the excitement of that. Just like a reminder of that.
So do you write basically, so it sounds like you write basically fiction that's inspired on real events largely?
Yes, very much so. And a mix of poetry, I guess. Ew, and I hate saying that. That's, I don't know. But yeah, I love, I also think I enjoy, I mean, like, I love when people do this stuff.
Yeah.
Really, like seeing it and stuff, because it means people want to reach out. Anything is essential, you know? Yeah. I think a lot of people kind of feel like it's not, you know, in a sense. Like what they're doing isn't going to be the best, so they don't do it. Yeah. But it's also just like, you do it because it's you. Yeah. You need to do it, right? That's the, art is like essential, I guess. But we made this all about art.
No, that's great. Like, that's you.
Yeah.
So what do you want to see that become in the future?
That's like a big one. It's my senior year, so a lot of, you know, what are we going to do with it?
Yeah.
And I think a big part of it is also what you don't want to do with it. You don't want to make it a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So half of me just wants to, I don't know. With writing, I think it's very personal.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this a different way. What do you want it to become in the ideal scenario? Like, just everything else aside, you know, society's expectations, money, forget about that. Just what do you want it to be?
I think I want it to continue to be necessary, but not relied on in a sense of income. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a fallback on, because when it's, you know, even though you said scratch whatever, I want it to be able to reach anybody who, whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like it becomes what it is, you know?
Yeah.
To sit here and have expectations for it, it kind of just lets it, you know, becomes something that, you know, doesn't meet expectation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, the idea of just, for me, I've always wanted to not do stuff, you know?
What do you mean?
Like, for me, I would be content. My biggest thing, this is my rant, I just want to settle down with like a house and just redo a Victorian house, work at a coffee shop, I don't need to be successful or have a ton of money.
Yeah.
I just want it to be.
That's respectable.
Yeah.
I think society tends to be very pushy, like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Yeah, and I think that really ends up into a big thing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of people don't want to do that.
What is one experience that you've had in your life that has really changed the way you think?
Huh. That's a good question. Change the way I think. I'm trying to think if it's going to be positive or negative. Which one would you prefer?
Either way. Whatever stands out the most.
Okay, I think the most recent one that I'm thinking of was I went to Colorado recently with my father, and we don't see his family often on his side. And I've always had this, you know, this grandmother who isn't blood, but married my grandfather nonetheless for however many years. Don't know how that happened, but I always kind of resented just, you know, seeing her eye to eye. Mm-hmm. Like, she wanted me to do a lot of things that I didn't believe in and just be this person who I wasn't, you know?
Yeah.
So going back there, I think I kind of just had this set mindset of like, oh, this is going to be, you know? But when I went up there, she was like the only person who was willing to learn what I've become. So I think a big part of it is when someone meets you at some point in your life, you should never assume that they're going to continue to see you that way.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. Because going into that, I've lost so many opportunities thinking that, oh, they're not going to see me as who I've become. And all of that progress has been gone. Because if you're unwilling to change from what you were, then why even put the effort in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember she had this cabinet when I was younger full of just all of these, you know, stuff, like childhood things. And for the first time, she showed me individually each and every one of them. And it was just such a weird interaction, because at first I was like, this person wants to know me. And even though they wouldn't support really what I do, they still are willing to learn. But it was just so devastating, because the whole time she was like, you don't have to listen to me, right? And it was kind of, you could see that she rehearsed it, because she just lived in her little, her home, and didn't have anybody to share the stories with. So I think, I think really just learn that you can take things from people, and you don't have to see eye to eye on everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that was just the saddest part about it, is that she apologized for telling me stories, right? When stories are so important.
Yeah.
To think that what you have to say is like necessary, get it out, kind of.
Yeah, that is, it's, you know, it's important to respect other people as people.
As people.
Don't like frame them on, you know, their ideas, their opinions, their ideals.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. It's so, if you're unwilling to see them with an open mind, then it's like you're in the same boat as them, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it just really limits the relationships that you can have, and the
Stories you can learn.
yeah, and the things you can learn, and just how much you can be a part of society.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I love coming out here too, is because I mean, like, the strangest people are out here. Not strange in a bad way, but just.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love eccentricities. I wouldn't be doing this if I did.
Yeah. It's wonderful.